I would like to discuss about pornography and masturbation for the male psyche. I have my own curiosity with the effects pornography and masturbation has on the male psyche. This curiosity comes from a noticeable theme in various men, okay, that I have come across. And these men all have a very seductive and almost addictive quality to them, okay? And they also have a almost like a succubus sort of attraction, okay? They all have that in their aura, this succubus pool, okay? And it almost can seem very addictive. Also low self-esteem and a seductive nature that it can be considered like a desperation or a victimization, and overall I like to call like a cloud, a dark cloud of misfortune. Now, so for some of you, you may not want to hear this, okay, if you're male or female, because pornography and masturbation is kind of like taboo. We just kind of let it be. We don't really want to talk about it. It's kind of like, yeah, we're just going to just let the men do what they want to do, let the women do what they want to do, and do you. That's kind of my mantra, do you. But I want to discuss the male psyche and how pornography and masturbation does affect the radiant body of the male, okay? So when we talk about the radiant body, okay, so this is like a yogic science, okay? The radiant body. The radiant body is our magnetism. It is, when we talk about magnetism, we talk about good fortune, okay? We talk about synchronicity, okay? Being at the right place at the right time. We also talk about the radiant body being the vehicle to manifesting abundance, okay? The radiant body to manifesting a healthy, happy, holy partnership, okay? So that radiance is basically a glow around us, okay? And that glow, like we could say the glow of the sun, okay? We are givers of life, okay? We are givers of life. And when we talk about givers of life, we are through that radiant body. Through that radiant body, we have an ability to, through the vitality and the vigor, to call in what is natural and what is rhythmic, okay? So when I see the theme in these men, okay, like I've mentioned before, and this is various men of different ages, different ethnic groups, okay, having different backgrounds, okay, different childhoods, and yet they all have this similar psyche. And when I go deep under the hood, I find that these men are all participating in pornography and masturbation. Okay, so I'm going to share with you guys kind of like the common thread between these men, okay? They all have this belief that women are gross, okay? Now, they may not be saying that, okay, such as women are gross, but they all have this sort of, I would say this little bit of disrespect towards women. I could say the word disrespect is way that they kind of look on women lowly, okay? They kind of have this like women are sort of low, okay? Also, these men, they all have problems with finances. So, and they're all in different situations, okay? One male, he was working really hard in trying to be financially, abundant, successful, and yet his none of his projects or his endeavors were really sticking, and they weren't really growing. And another partner could not be able to get the courage to leave a job, okay, and just got stuck in like this sort of financial pit, where there is really nothing coming. There's a lot of just kind of leakage, like finances like leaking kind of thing, where it's just kind of falling out, and this person doesn't know why the money is always leaking. And then there was another person who basically was powerless when it came to money. This other male, powerless, meaning he had no idea how to make money, and he was always frustrated about making money. Okay, so I've noticed that this theme of the males with this pornography and masturbation, I like to say psyche, they had issues. They weren't very abundant. Okay, money was they were frustrated about it, or it was leaking, or they were pursuing it through projects and endeavors, but it wasn't really holding. They couldn't hold that. They couldn't hold a wealthy lifestyle, a true wealth. Okay. Also, like I said, all of these men had a lot of issues when it comes to relationships. Some men had like an obsessive nature, an addictive nature. Other men, they could not seem to attract a woman that is actually gonna, help them evolve into a more heart-centered person. And it was more of like an animalistic interaction based on like just money and sex, okay? Or relationships based on low self-esteem, where there's a lot of emotional commotion, okay? Or there's also this male psyche of a man seeking from a woman financial security, okay? So I found this theme in these, again, men that they don't know each other whatsoever, different background, different childhood, even ethnic group, okay? And I found that in each one of these males that there was a heavy pornography and masturbation within them, okay? So I've discovered in kind of, you could say, conversating with these different male and my own sort of quest to understand what pornography and masturbation does to the male psyche, I've discovered that all of them have indulged, I would like to say, in a lot of you can say sexual activity, and yet all of these men have felt very dissatisfied and have felt very empty by these many encounters, and also has felt very as though their self-esteem lowered by these encounters. Like they almost they felt that it actually took something from them. Like it took something from them by participating, and also brought in like a sort of like a cloud, you could say, a cloud in their space, okay, through participating in basically what they saw on pornography, which is basically you go from one to the other, into the other, into the other, but not recognizing, because they don't show in the pornography, that kind of that creates it creates a buildup, okay, a buildup of energy. So all of these men had like a buildup of energy, and that buildup of energy is kind of like I like to call it like a buildup of like psyche debris, and not understanding why are they so tense, why are they like constipated, basically, with all of this emotion and all of this frustration and all of this karma, because all of the theme with all these males I've discovered is just this buildup of karma. And when I mean like karma, it's mean like you're carrying a lot of like issues, like emotional issues, like unresolved issues, like problems and these kinds of things. When I say is karma, is like you're carrying a lot of blockages, basically, and these blockages for these males have been the reason for why they're not really getting a good footing in their financial world. And also in a relationship, like talking about having like a relationship that brings the best out of them and not just keeps them in the animal self. So I found it that these men were basically, they had a huge like a psyche buildup, and that buildup, they continue to try to, I guess, alleviate the buildup through just more ejaculation. They were using ejaculation to basically alleviate the buildup, but this buildup was from the basically the emotional interlocks they were having with all of these people. Okay, so part of, like, you could see it in the male psyche, this emotional buildup, and you can also see, you say, this cloud of karma, I like to say, where it brings like a seductive nature to these men, where they're not radiant. They have to compensate for their lack of radiance for like it's almost like they have like this lustful pheromone. And that kind of use like a luring, like a lures. That's their way of manifesting. I've noticed is they try to lure people in through their pheromone, and the pheromone is very animal based. Radiance is the soul. You're soulful. You attract the wealth of the universe through your soulfulness. While there's another way to attract, as many people do, which is through the pheromone, which is the animal. Okay, all animals in nature have a pheromone. Okay, and there are people I've seen in male psyche who have heavy pornography and masturbation. They don't know how to manifest, like wealth particularly. So they're using the lustful, seductive, almost succubus sort of pheromone to lure people in, or to lure opportunities into their life. But none of these opportunities really hold for either it's a relationship or either it's like a job opportunity. None of them really hold. None of them really stick. And I found in the male psyche, it is because of the emotional blockages through this cloud. Okay. And a lot of men, like, the animal part of men would be like, I'm a man, I'm designed to conquer and to experience as much pleasure as possible. Okay, and that's a lot of male mantras, and a lot of male, they're completely comfortable with just that lustful sort of seductive, pheromone sort of thing of manifesting. But for a lot of these men, it's a detached. There's a detachment. Okay, so you can see even men who we could say are successful, and they're heavy in the pornography or that sort of perversion. Okay, any form of perversion. Men who are successful but are deep in perversion. You wonder, okay, these people are abundant, but they're detached from they're detached from, completely detached from their heart and their radiant body. Okay, because you can manifest through just pure pheromone. You can manifest, as we know, women and men can manifest through just pure lust energy, just pure animal energy. Many people do it, but a part of doing that is you have to detach from your heart. You have to detach basically from your radiant body. Okay, and the effects, okay, there is effects for that. Okay, it's like a side effect. There are many side effects to detaching from your heart and from your radiant body, which is basically your soul, your essence, is that you lose all credibility as a man. So you could be the billionaire of whatever sort of billion, but you lose all credibility. You could be the greatest, I don't know, whatever sort of seller of pornography or perversion, whatever it is, as a male, but you lose all credibility. Okay? I'm talking about credibility as in you lose your leadership over the natural world. You lose all leadership over the natural world. Okay? And once you really detach and lose that sense of leadership over the natural world, you can get completely earthbound. Entirely earthbound. And, some people say, there's nothing wrong with being earthbound. But we could say, again, the effect of that is you do not have the dignity, the honesty within yourself to actually transform. So earthbound is basically, when we think about, you're basically, you don't know how to transform. And a part of transforming is you have dignity and honesty, and that has to do with the heart, and that has to do with the radiant body. When anything transforms, it's dignified and it's very honest, even though it may be destructive or it may be chaotic. It's very honest, it's very dignified. Transform. So becoming earthbound means you can be kind of stuck, and that's when you lose. When we see these people who are just stuck in whatever they're doing. Okay, they could be the billion of the billion, but they're stuck to it. They can't do anything else. They're so bound to it. It's because they lost all credibility. They've lost all leadership over the natural world. The natural world is our rhythm. It is our transformation. It is the wealth of the universe. When we detach from that, we get stuck. We get bound to whatever it is that we are, gripping onto. So it doesn't matter how much it appears that we are, succeeding or, maintaining our $1 billion from whatever thing that we're doing, okay? We're bound to it. We can't transform it because we are not credible to ourselves and to the natural world. So then we kind of just we're kind of entrapped in that. Okay, so that's like going a little bit deeper into like the male psyche when we talk about the male psyche who we talk about the successful male who purely off of just their animal pheromone through whatever say became $1 billion off of porn or something like that. Okay, the darkness, we talk about manifesting in the darkness. Okay, so I want to talk about those psyches, and a lot of the men I've seen they're not there. That's not a lot of men that are in that kind of category that I've mentioned. But I would say vast majority of the male who are in that pornography or in the masturbation are also have a lot, I would say, like I said, there's a buildup of emotion. That's one of and that buildup of emotion can also cross into like, I have a cloud, like blockages. It creates like blockages, because there is this, these interlocks with people, in the sort of detachment from your own psyche. Okay, that creates sort of a powerlessness to your power, your patterns. Okay, it creates this powerlessness to your patterns, so they kind of just continue to play out, just impulsively through your life. But there's also this buildup of anger I've noticed in a lot of these men, and again, trying to ejaculate to release the powerlessness and the anger they've seen in various men. So, but then it drains the male body when the male body is trying to alleviate anger through just pure masturbation and pornography. And more, they lose vitality rather than gain vitality. So I just wanted to share this little kind of discussion on pornography and masturbation. Okay, so it's a continued journey for me of learning about the males that I see out there in the world, because I can see I'm starting to notice a very common thread between these men and pornography and masturbation. I can actually see the cloud in their psyche, and I can actually see the buildup, the emotional buildup within them. And I can also see the blockages they have when it comes to financial success. Now, when it comes to this financial security, which I could see in these men, that it has to do with low self-worth. Okay, low self-worth. A lot of the pornography, men don't realize that we all have a female. Okay, if you're a male, I'm speaking to you. You all have a female energy within you. So when you're masturbating or ejaculating, you're very much you're connecting with like when you connect with a woman, you're connecting with a feminine energy. So if you're in feminine energy male, you need to realize is fertility. Fertility is basically the life giver. It's the life bearer. Okay, women represent the life bearer, and that's how you open up opportunities and portals for job advancement or security or whatever abundance that you're trying to manifest. It is the life bearer that opens up these portals and opens up your radiant body. It's the female that opens up the radiant body. Okay, so let's get that clear. And if you want to know about the ancient esoteric schools of the sex, basically women in these very ancient schools, women could open up a man's radiance through having sex with him because she is the life bearer. She could basically unlock a man's radiant body so that he could be able to manifest soulfully basically the wealth of the universe in a very soulful and very miraculous way. Okay, where man can actually be a very very innovative, very genius, and very much in his power as a wise man, instead of his animal desperation and that kind of attachment, suffering kind of thing. So when you are masturbating, ejaculating, watching porn, to these women, visualizing these women, basically what you're doing is you are identifying with a female. Okay, you're identifying with a female energy. And if you are associating women are gross, that kind of thing, if you create that, if you identify a woman as gross, basically what is within is without. So most likely you identify with your feminine energy as gross. So basically what you do is you block that natural life-bearing energy, okay, that the fertility, you're basically blocking that within your own life. Okay, you're blocking off opportunities, you're blocking off you could say wealth of the universe, because that's what the woman represents. So when you associate, oh, that's gross, okay, you're saying that about your own doorway to the wealth of the universe. You're blocking that within yourself, okay? And that's kind of like, we talk about a deeper psychology when it comes to watching these pornos of these women, where these men, call them, sluts and gross and hoes and stuff like that. That kind of language, it does imprint on a man's psyche, and it does create this disconnect when it comes to a man's own connection with his feminine energy. And that's why men tend to be, they have to be more animalistic to get what they want, instead of what they lose innovation, they lose what we call a genius creativity, or they lose their sense of character, their honesty, dignity, all of these kinds of traits that represent what we call like the intelligent body, okay, the intelligent body of man, the balanced ego. So men don't realize a balanced ego is not I'm some conquering man like a baboon. No, I am. A balanced ego is the same for woman and man. It's just a little bit more intense for a male. Is the balance of ego is both male and female. Every person on this planet has a male and female. Okay, a male and female energy. Okay, and a balanced ego for a man is the animal side of man, the mind, they come together in the heart. And that heart represents the feminine energy. And that also is basically a man's connection to his radiant body, where instead of having to seduce people and get what he wants, he can actually use his intelligence, he can use innovation, he can use creative genius, like many people, like Albert Einstein, Steve Jobs, these many males who have very successful, and yet you can see they are very credible. They have a very credible aura. And what does that look like? They have a man who's radiant, a man who looks balanced, a man who's soulful, okay, a man who has a character, and who is very in touch with both his feminine and his masculine side. So when men are too heavy in pornography and masturbation, they basically become very imbalanced in the way that they disconnect from a female energy. Okay, the female energy. Because when you say they're gross and stuff like that, you're basically shaming your own sort of female energy as a male. You're shaming that part of yourself. But you need that part of yourself to be balanced. Everything is hot and cold. Okay, seasons changing. Nothing is just, I'm a man and I'm a man. That is very imbalanced. A man needs to get his edge on. He needs to fuck, So when we talk about a success, talk about it in a relationship or in abundance, okay, whatever that is, that's credible, okay, where you're not trapped and you're stuck into some, you make money but you're stuck in it because you don't have innovation to actually do something that's very purposeful and very radiant. It almost glows with service and with joy for this planet. Okay, so it's bringing. So, okay, the success in the career and the success in the relationship, it brings the best out of us, okay? But we can block that opportunity that brings the best out of us because we are carrying that low self-worth. I'm not worthy for this job or this opportunity or this relationship to bring the best out of me. So I'm just going to go for the job that, I'm feeling trapped or stuck or powerless. Or I'm just going to go for the relationship that doesn't fulfill me emotionally, because I'm not worthy to actually have the best version of myself become available. I'm not worthy of that. And a part of that I'm not worthy, it does come from, the pornography, masturbation, creating this emotional buildup. Because every person we interconnect with, either we're detached and it's meaningless and it's just something to just do to get your rocks off, or get your animal pounding. All of that, it does create if it detaches us from our soul and it detaches from our heart, that's when we start to get into karma. Okay, the bad luck, okay, the not working out for me, the confusion, the scrambled, the powerlessness that a lot of men, the anger a lot of men have, is because they've detached from their heart and their soul. And when you do that, of course you get buildup. You get a buildup of energy, tension, anger, emotional, whatever it is. You get a buildup because your soul and your heart is your way. Okay, is the way that you're able to purify. You're able to purify. You're able to purify. You're able to purify your energy. Okay, and when men can't purify their energy because they've detached from their heart and their soul, they just become pure animal. Meaning, to get what I want, I have to seduce. I have to use my pheromone to pull people to me to get what I want, and then I have to, do the whole what animal does, kind of like in a pornography. I gotta, seduce. Okay. You gotta fake it and pretend and all that kind of commotion. But none of it is credible, and none of it actually is liberating. None of it. And that's the one thing I've seen these men, is that there is this feeling of victim to their own body, to their own habits. And also there's this feeling of like a low self-esteem, low energy. Okay, low potency, low motivation. And the way a lot of these men are just confused. Okay, it's almost a confusion. Okay, so I don't know. I this is not going to be for every male out there, so just take a grain of salt. But I am expressing my own study of various men that I have had conversations with, and seeing a very similar psyche, and noticing that the main thing, finding that they do, is they have heavy pornography or masturbation in their history or in their present. Okay? And how there is actually a psyche sort of personality that comes from this, which I have just shared with you guys. Okay, and it just a little bit just a little bit about this. Okay, I wanted to share with you guys, so thank you.